Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Himanshu Gupta, and I'm going to present summary about the atomic structure. Since we are learning these atoms from our school and the in the graduation part and in the masters also. So what we have learned so far about the atomic structure, I'm giving the brief summary about the atomic structure, what we have learned so far, and in the schooling, in the graduation part and the masters. So now I will start from the atoms, what is atom and the atomic model, then Bohr model, then gross structure, the fine structure, the conclusion, and then references. Okay, so we know that the atoms in our school, we have learned that atom is made up of the electron, proton, and the neutron. The atom is first discovered, or it is the idea of the atom was given by the Democritus, that is the Greek scientist and the philosopher, and he gave this idea of the atom about a story that he thought that when we break a stone and it will break in the smaller and smaller parts, and then at a moment we get a smaller stone, then it is further not divisible. So this comes from the atomos, which means the indivisible. So now, but then we know from the various experiment, we get to know that about this atom is divisible indeed, and the electrons, protons, and the neutrons are inside this. Acceptable model
Hello.
was given by the Bohr. Then the Erwin Schrödinger comes with the quantum model of the atom, and he gives some quantum description, and the Werner Heisenberg gives the uncertainty principle. And then as we know that the atom is divisible into the electrons, protons, and the neutrons, but protons and neutrons are also further divisible in terms of the quarks that Mary Gell-Mann and the George Wig gives this. Now the hydrogen atom, because in order to learn the atomic structure, we first simply take a simple example of the hydrogen atom, which has only one electron. The first acceptable model was the Bohr model, and the postulates of the Bohr model was that he gives the three postulates related to the quantized orbits, the radiationless, and the corresponding principle. Quantized orbit, that the electron orbiting around the nucleus is orbiting in the quantized orbit, which we gives from the quantization of the angular momentum. Radiationless means that while orbiting around the nucleus, electron cannot emit radiation while orbiting in a particular orbit. But when it transits from one energy level to the other energy level, it may radiate the radiation, and that the amount of the radiation will be equivalent to the energy difference of the two energy levels. Okay. So here I am not giving the limitations of the models, because my main perspective is to determine the atomic structure. So I am representing only the energies part. So the result obtained by the Bohr model was the energy, velocity, and the radius. The energy in terms of the electron volt and in terms of the Rydberg unit, we have determined this. And we are doing this, and generally we can convert the units from one and another. So electron volt can be converted into the Rydberg unit. And then the Bohr radius, we know that the radius corresponding to the n equal to 1 orbit, the minimum distance of the electron from the nucleus is given by the Bohr radius. And then the wavelength of the photon, when the electron made a transition from one energy level to the another energy level, then this amount of wavelength is emitted or absorbed by the electron. But here what I am given the formula for the emission radiation of the electron. This is the spectrum which we get from the Bohr model, that simply the spectrum, because with the help of the Bohr model, what we get is the main energy levels with n equal to 1, n equal to 2, n equal to 3, and n equals to 4, the various energy levels, and how the electron can make transitions from various energy levels to the other energy levels. In order to get that, we get different series, that is the Lyman series, Balmer, Paschen, Brackett, and Pfund. These are the main 5 series which we get in this model. And this is the emission spectrum, because the electrons are coming from the higher energy levels to the lower energy levels. Okay, and we know that the particular series can be split into the type of Lyman alpha series, Lyman beta series, and Lyman gamma series related to the n values. Okay, so now what we have learned so far is about the simple structure of the atom, that we have the atom and then the electron is present in the atom in the main energy levels. But this is not sufficient, because as we go for further knowledge of the atom, we get to know, we include the quantum mechanics in that is proposed by the Erwin Schrödinger. Because in quantum mechanics, what we generally solve any quantum mechanical problems with the help of the Schrödinger equation. That is a key equation which describes about the wave function and the energy levels of any quantum mechanical system. So here I'm not giving the quantum description of this, because I'm giving the reference related to that, because that will be whole mathematical related to the hydrogen atom. So the gross structure. Gross structure means the line spectra predicted by the quantum mechanics of non-relativistic electrons with no spin. For a hydrogenic atom, the gross structure energy levels only depend on the principal quantum number n, because when we solve the hydrogen atom problem in quantum mechanics, what we generally get the energies in terms of the principal quantum number. The concept of the quantum numbers come from the quantum mechanics, because when we solve the hydrogen atom problem, by using the quantum mechanics, we have different quantum numbers: the L, the principal quantum number; the L, the azimuthal quantum number; and the magnetic quantum number, small m. But in the energy, what we get is the principal quantum number, and that is similar to the Bohr model, the energy which we get from the Bohr model. Then what is the difference? How we can get the splitting, and how we can know about the more deep about the structure of the atom? So in order to get that, we further splitting of the energy levels that will come under the fine structure. So the fine structure, the scale of the fine structure splitting relative to the gross structure energies is of the order of Z alpha whole square. And where alpha we know is the fine structure constant, and that is equals to 1 by 137. Okay, so now we proceed to the fine structure. What is the fine structure? Because we have learned the atomic structure is consist of only the, up to now what we have learned is the atomic structure consists of the main energy levels. But in order to learn that how these quantum numbers take part in the energy levels, or how they participate in describing the more and more precise information about the atomic structure, we go to the fine structure. So in order to do the fine structure, we have to include some corrections, and we have already know that in order to do some correction to solve a quantum system, we generally use the perturbation theory. So I have been using this perturbation theory in order to add the three terms in the Hamiltonian. Why these three terms? Because when we go further and further, then we know that the simple Hamiltonian, we have the simple Hamiltonian which have this kinetic energy term and this potential energy. But what is the more about these? So we are adding these Hamiltonian, three Hamiltonian, which I will describe later. So first is the leading order correction to the relativistic correction. So relativistic correction in the Schrodinger equation, when we solve for the quantum system simply, we didn't include any relativistic correction into the kinetic energy, and we don't include any spin related to the electrons. So the correction also comes from the spin orbit coupling, and the Darwin term comes from the jittery motion of the electron when it is when we put an atom in the presence of an electromagnetic field. Then electric field, in the presence of the electric field, it will jitter around its position, and that. So these type of correction we can simply do with the help of the Dirac equation. So what we do in the relativistic, because we know that the relativistic energy can be given as E square equal to P square C square plus M square C4, that is the kinetic energy term and the rest mass energy. But we know that we have faced many solutions in order to solve this. Then Dirac proposed the idea. We also have the Klein-Gordon equation, but that is for spin zero particle. But we know that electron is the spin half, so Dirac proposed the solution related to this energy, and we got this equation, that is beta mc square plus c summation over alpha and pn psi xt equals to I h cross del psi x comma t by del t. Why we have taken this type of equation? Because the energy is the quadratic in term, and we want to solve the equation in terms of simply the energy, because we have the positive energy solution and negative energy solution. So in order to do that, Dirac give the simple starting of the equation to solve these. And after solving these mathematical expression, we come up to the Dirac equation, that is I del cross minus m psi equal to 0, it in terms of natural units, because in natural units what we take is the h cross and the c equals to 1, and that is dimensionless. Now this simple Hamiltonian, what we have for the hydrogen atom problem, simple Hamiltonian without any correction. So that is the kinetic energy term P square by 2m and the minus Z square by R, the kinetic energy and the potential energy. Okay. So now the first correction is the kinetic energy relativistic correction. We can simply do the correction in the Dirac equation by substituting, because in the Dirac equation we have the momentum is P. But when we put an atom in the presence of an electromagnetic field, in order to get the more precise structure, momentum gets changed by P vector to P vector minus QA by C. So after solving those mathematical expressions of the Dirac equation, we get the three correction, the kinetic energy relativistic correction, the spin orbit correction, and the Darwin term. So here I am representing this kinetic energy correction explicitly also, but we can get this kinetic energy term correction from the Dirac equation also. So the kinetic energy term equals to the relativistic energy and the rest mass energy. So we can binomial expand this because we are doing this relativistic. So okay, so the first term in the expansion of the kinetic energy is given by p square by 2me, which is the non-relativistic kinetic energy. And the second term is considered to be the relativistic correction, and the higher terms we are neglecting because we are doing the perturbation theory and we are only taking the first order correction of the Hamiltonian. So this H prime equals to minus of P4 by 8me cube C square. And with the help of the perturbation theory, we know that in order to find the first order energy correction, we generally use the unperturbed Hamiltonian with the perturbed Hamiltonian. That is the what is the perturbation in the Hamiltonian. So I am calculating this first order energy correction in the unperturbed by using the unperturbed wave function and this H prime. So we can H prime is the peak to the power 4 and the rest is the these are the constants. So we can bring these out as these wave function do not depend on these. So this P4, see this P4 we can split in P square and P square terms, and then these are the mathematical calculation how we are proceeding, because psi 0 is the eigenfunction of Hamiltonian S0, which is unperturbed, or we can say that Hamiltonian without any correction. So this Hamiltonian is the Hamiltonian, and this psi 0 is the eigenfunction of this Hamiltonian, and the first equation which I have written as 0 psi 0 equals to En psi 0 is the energy eigenvalue equation. So because P square, what we have learned here, we have seen that P square can be written in H in terms of S0 and R, because we can do simply calculation by this using. So this we are substituting this S0 and how we are proceeding this. So this P square can be written in terms of this, and then the double terms squaring, and these are the expectations value which we are doing. Because in order to get the energy eigenvalue, we generally want to do the expectation energies of the Hamiltonian. So now for the hydrogen atom, what we have learned, seen that the potential energy is simply this. So we can put this here, and this becomes the expectation value 1 by r, and the expectation value 1 by r square which we need is the standard, where we can see this E is the elementary charge, epsilon 0 is the vacuum permittivity, N is the principal quantum number, L is the azimuthal quantum number, and R is the distance of the electron from the nucleus, and A0 is the Bohr radius, which I had mentioned earlier. Okay, so now these are the energies which we are getting after substituting all these value of V, 1 by R and 1 by R square, these here. Okay. So this En, I have taken this differently in order because these are the constants, so we can consider this as to be En. So this En1 is the first order energy correction for the relativistic correction. Now in Rydberg unit, we can represent this because I have already mentioned that we can convert from one unit to the another unit. And why we are converting this in Rydberg unit? Because we are interested in finite structure constant alpha. We are not interested in these types of constant, because if we can represent these also, but if we represent these, then it will become a big we can say like
expression.
Yeah, big expression. Thank you. So the alpha is the finite structure constant, and this R represents the relativistic correction. Okay, so we have done about the relativistic correction. Now the spin orbit interaction, because we know that the electron has a spin, and when we put an electromagnetic field, then how this spin and the L vector, the orbital angular momentum, and the S is the electron spin, how these combine to make a participation in the structure. So this term which I have get this is the spin orbit term, and this term which I have already mentioned that we can get these terms from the Dirac equation, which I have given the references from which I have taken these directly, because there are a lot of mathematical calculations. So I have skipped that and taken the main expression for the spin orbit. And then this is similar to the perturbation theory. We have to solve for the first order energy correction, and I have taken these are the non-perturbed or unperturbed wave function. Now, because we know that in order to find the energy eigenvalues, we need to solve a matrix equation, because with the help of the perturbation theory, we generally form a matrix equation. matrix and solve the matrix equation and then get the energy eigenvalues. Our main perspective is to get the energy eigenvalues. So we form the matrix in such a manner that we get only the diagonal elements and the off diagonal elements will remain 0. So that is why we are looking for the commutation relation of these Hamiltonians and which basis we are using, because now we are proceeding in deeper for the structure. So in from the quantum mechanics, we learn about the quantum numbers n, l, and m, and how the wave function of the electrons will depend on these quantum numbers. So the energy splitting will depend on these, that how we will fill the electrons and how these L and M quantities are restricted, because we cannot take every and M, because these have some limitation that L goes up to n-1, that is a principal quantum number less than 1. Okay, and M is the spin, M is the magnetic quantum number. Then we have the simple Hamiltonian that is unperturbed, and we know that that Hamiltonian will commute with every observable, that is L square, S square, J square. J is the total angular momentum which we can get with the combination of L and S. And that L mu means the any component of L vector, that is Lx, Ly, Lz, and these. But this L vector dot S vector commutes with L square, S square, J square, and Jz. But these don't commute with Lz and Sz, because we have, when we write the full expression for this L vector dot S vector, then we get some relation between these spins, because the commutation relation we know that the commutation relation, and we know that Lx Ly commutes to give in iota H cross Lz. So we get some non-zero part when this L vector dot S vector and this Lz commutes. So that because if these are the condition, then we will not get the only the diagonal elements, we will also get the off diagonal elements. So the best choice to solve the any equation in the perturbation theory, we will use the basis to be L, S, J, Mj, that is a coupled basis. We can also do this, but what is the problem in this, that we get the matrix and then we have to diagonalize that matrix. But by using this matrix, what we get is the only the diagonal matrix. So we can use this. So I am using the coupled basis, and we know that how this J square, L square, and S square are being operating on these bases, and these are the quantum numbers. So we can, and the value of J can lie between the mod of L minus S to mod of L plus S. And in the similar manner, because this spin orbit term has this R dependence also. So we have solved this because this depend on the basis, but this R doesn't depend on any basis, because this depend only on the radial part. And then we get this expectation value on this. And I have represented this zeta NL by the total term excluding the L vector dot S vector. And then this ESO after concluding the expectation value of 1 by R cube, or we can say that zeta NL and the L vector dot S vector, the last expression which we get in terms of N, L, S, and J, the quantum numbers, is this. Okay, so now in Rydberg units, I'm converting. These are the conversion in the Rydberg units, where alpha is the finest structure constant and this is the possible values can be, because we are considering the hydrogen atom which have only one electron and the spin of the electron can be half. So the possible J values can be L plus minus half. So after substituting this J value in the spin orbit energy equation, we get these two possible. The first term, the L, in the expression which we have get here, this L correspond to L plus half, J equal to L plus half, and this correspond to J equal to L minus half. And the difference between the splitting of these two J values can be given like this. And the selection rules are obvious because we have used the basis in L, S, J, and Mj. So these are the selection rules for these spin orbit coupling. Now the Darwin term is some kind of due to the electric field. So this term is also from the Dirac equation. After solving the Dirac equation, we get this expression, and the electric field can be represented in terms of the potential minus of grad phi, and phi potential for the electron is Zd by R. So after substituting all these mathematical expressions in this HD term, we are getting this expression. And this, because we know that the grad square 1 by R is the 4 pi del minus 4 pi del R. So we have substituted this. Now, what is this del R? We are solving this del R because this term will contribute only for the S states, L equal to 0 states, because the only wave function which is non-zero for R equal to 0, because what is this term means del R minus 0, and the only wave function for the R is equals to 0, which is not 0 at R equal to 0, is the ground wave function corresponding to S states. So we are writing this like so. Okay, then the expectation value of this HD is this, and this is ED. And for hydrogen, the mode of psi 0 whole square can be given as this. Then we have taken this expectation value of this HD, and in terms of unit we have taken this, because this HD, what we have seen that this delta R comes and this contributes only the part for L is equal to 0. For L is not equal to 0, it will not contribute. So that is why we are solving this. I am explicitly representing the energy terms which are contributing for L equals to 0, L not equal to 0. As we have seen this, why I have already told that why this Darwin term will contribute for L equals to 0, and for L not equals to 0, why it does contribute. But why this spin orbit term is going to 0? Because spin orbit term, what it generally do, the splitting between the J values. But whenever L is 0, then we don't get any different J values. That is, the J value is simply the half. So there is no splitting due to this term. So that is why for L equals to 0, this term is 0. So only the two values will contribute like in this manner. And I have gotten this expression by substituting the values for L in order to get the final result in terms of J and N. And okay, so now what I'm going to represent this now, how we get this. So simply this is the Bohr model which we get this energy for N equals to 1 and N equals to 2. Oh, so here, so I'm writing this wrong. So here this is the N equals to 2. So now this splitting in this N equals to 2 energy state and the 1s energy state, due to the Bohr model we have getting this. But due to the Dirac model, the Dirac equation, after adding some corrections, splitting between these two energy levels also, 2p 3 by 2 and 2p half. But what is this purple line? This purple line is related to the 2s half level, because what we have seen that this energy will depend only the J and N value. So for a particular N value, if the J value is same, then the energy will be same. So for 2s half, the N value is 2 and the J value is half, and for also 2p half, the N value is 2 and the J value is half. So that is why we are getting these type of lines here. So we can see that these are the Lyman alpha series. When we are in the Bohr model, what we see that we get the simple line in the Lyman alpha series, but now these Lyman alpha series get split into this. And that is the general model. When we go for further splitting after introducing the external magnetic field, that the Giemann term will come. And what this Giemann term will do, this will further split the MJ values, because corresponding to J values, we have the MJ values, and then it gets split in this kind of thing. So this is the simple which we get for N equals to 2. And then after adding, because this relativistic correction, if we include only the relativistic correction, it do not split, it just give the energies between the two energy levels. It give the energy difference between the two energy levels like this. Then after the adding this spin orbit and this Darwin terms, we are getting this splitting. And then after adding these type of terms, the Giemann effect, we are getting this splitting. Okay. So these are the references which I have taken, because generally I have taken from the books. So that is the Griffith, the Whistlebooth for the atoms and the molecules, and this is the book for the perturbations, and that is the site from which I have learned this. And these are the references in the ACS notations which I have written. Thank you.